Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Alessandrini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
I'm good. It's hot.
I haven't been outside.
Newsflash. Dude, I have the people who are already at Bristol for the autocrossing this weekend. Have fun.
Look,
literally, if you listen to this before, if you hear this, like when you're on your way there, whatever, you're already there.
Yeah.
Start drinking water. Holy crap.
Yeah, you need to preload the water.
You need to start drinking water like tomorrow for your trip down there.
Yeah, you're right. Well, today's Wednesday when we're recording this. I'm not leaving till Friday, so like I'll be okay.
But be okay. I'm okay though. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to have an advantage come this weekend, just to skip to the end of the show or what we're doing. Everyone there right now, they're all like, slumming it with this 4-day, 100-degree heat. I'm just going to show up on Friday evening and just do a normal 2-day weekend autocross. I'm going to be so fresh. It's going to be great.
They're all going to be like sunburnt, dehydrated puddles.
Yeah.
And you're going to show up with a little spring in your
Yep.
step. You guys ready to autocross? I'm ready to autocross.
Let's go. Yep, that's exactly how I'll show up, and I'll probably be just as annoying as that sounds. So, yay.
Yeah. Speaking of autocross, you autocrossed this weekend.
I did.
Twice, right?
I did, yeah. I went to an event in the middle of Pennsylvania. It's like 4 hours away from me, and it was raining the whole time. And you know what, Tom? I think I like rain events. Not because it's more fun to drive in, but just the camaraderie of everyone being like, we're hanging out in our frog togs and we're getting rained on. Woo! Like that. I kind of dig that. Like we're all in this together kind of like thing. It's
sure.
I kind of dig it. I think driving autocross in the dry is more fun. But the events are just as enjoyable in my own opinion. Is my head shiny? Look at this.
It's just you're glowing.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I don't sweat, I glisten.
I got distracted on the webcam and just my head looked extra shiny today.
I don't think I like autocrossing in the rain. I haven't done it a whole lot, to be honest, because it's not like track driving in the rain
is different.
Is like driving a whole different racetrack.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun. And there's grip in different places than usual.
Yep.
But I guess, I don't know. When I think about autocrossing in the rain, I think about like doing time attack in the rain in a way. It's like, I don't get well, no, that's not a good analogy because driving on a racetrack, you're kind of just like driving slowly around.
Yeah, like you're still trying to maximize like what's available, but I think what makes driving in the rain on a racetrack like so enjoyable is that it's like a little puzzle to figure out. And in autocross, you don't have enough like time to figure out the puzzle. So it always leaves you feeling like there was more because you like didn't have enough reps to like fully figure out what like puzzle laid out in front of you.
Yeah, I'm in it for like the rapid fire machine gun pace with like lots of G-forces. That's what I'm in autocross for, and that takes it all away.
Yeah. You're still executing on the thing. Like it's still better than sitting at home. But I think the camaraderie of like we're all standing around in our frog togs more than makes up for it, and it's a good time.
Sure. Well, that sounds fun. I hope it was worth the trip. And then you went to Toledo as well?
Yep. And then I drove 4 hours home and then 2 hours in the other direction after I slept at home and did an event on Toledo. And that was a lot of fun too. What about you, Tom?
You were complaining about the car that you've been driving being difficult to lock down with like setup and stuff. Did you like this other one that you drove better? Or did it help you driving two different cars set up separately?
It's tough because it was wet. And it was
you drove that one on the wet day.
Yeah. I drove a D Street car on Sunday and then the CST car on Saturday. And the CST car was mostly the same as Peter's. It had shaft work shocks, Geiken diff, but the spring rates were a little different and he had less rake. So he had like a stiffer rear rate, but less rake. And I think that was like good in the wet. It felt fine. And actually it took me a little bit to come up to pace. And normally that doesn't happen. And there was something about the freaking runway lights that was like in my head. Uh,
Oh.
because it was on a runway and it's very cambered. It has like a large crest in the middle of it. And I think the off camber was having me feel a little less comfortable than I normally would. And in the driver's meeting, they talked about how expensive these runway lights were. And that just like, and I just bought this mountain bike. Shout out to Adam. Um, uh, Adam, I forgot the name of your company. If you want to post it in the chat, it's like Shed Built or something like that. But if I can actually send people to the Instagram at least. Cool. He's typing. So I just bought that mountain bike and I'm like, I really don't want to have to replace like $1,000 worth of, let alone the damage to the car if I went like sliding sideways into one of these runway lights. Like, because I'm
They
sure
said it was going to be on you if you hit one, that
Oh,
you would
yeah.
have to pay to replace it.
Yep,
What club was
absolutely.
this?
It was an SCCA club.
That doesn't sound like how SCCA events are supposed to work. Whatever region that is kind of BS.
Okay, the mountain bike is coming from Shed Built, so SHED Built, all one word. So
Yeah.
Adam knows the stuff. Tom, he like completely stripped the bike down and did like a full refresh on it, and it's in the mail and it gets here tomorrow. I'm super pumped.
Nice.
So anyways, that was kind of in my head during like the first run heat. And I only walked the course once. I only had time to walk it once. Christine actually woke me up. My alarm said it went off, but I saw no evidence of that. I think so. I normally have my alarm play like a Spotify playlist of like cerebral, like
cerebral.
Yeah, like it's I didn't.
You
I
mean
didn't.
serene?
It's no, because I think that would sound different. It's just like sounds and like chords, and it's just like it's like not music. And so
Okay.
I have like a playlist of that, and that's normally what I would wake up to. But twice now it has said an alarm has happened and it didn't wake me up. So I think sometimes Spotify gets a little confused and then it just doesn't play any sound. So the alarm's going off, but it like didn't actually play any songs or anything. So I've switched to an obnoxious, sorry, Christine, in the future. This is a new development. Christine's on a trip on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So Christine, when you come back, there will be a loud alarm now playing in the morning when I have to wake up. And that will totally wake you up. So I apologize in advance.
You could get this. I had an alarm clock in high school because I was so difficult to get out of bed.
Yeah.
That had this little puck that plugged into it, and the puck vibrated and it went under your mattress. So when the alarm went off, it would also like vibrate the bed, and you could hear it throughout the entire house when it was like, and my parents would try to get me up. You could get one of those. Christine would love that.
No, nope, I don't think she would.
I'm still stuck on this. That's not how that's supposed to work with the payment thing. There's supposed to be like supplemental insurance for damages and medical.
Look, it turns out it was all for nothing anyways, because when I went out there to work the course, the only places that I felt like, ooh, if I mess this up, like I could just go for a large safari and just go flying in the dirt. Those spots of the runway didn't have any lights. So I was like, wait a second. I'm over here being in my own head for no reason. Like I could just freaking go out there and send it. So I was actually really, really proud of my run that I did on Saturday. Peter Schnorr, who was driving a different CST car, he was actually beating me after morning runs. And then the conditions were worse in the afternoon, and I went like 1.2 seconds faster. Like I put together a run where it felt like I was barely touching the steering wheel and the car was just floating and I was just getting away with everything like the whole time. And then I was like, surely I can't get away with everything that I'm trying in this run. And then by the time I got to the end, I was like, I did. And it was great.
Were you on Bridgestones or Continentals?
Bridgestones.
Interesting.
Continentals would have been much more confidence inspiring. There was definitely some hydroplaning going on, but you had to like get the angle right before you hit the puddle. And I don't know. It was kind of entertaining, even though after we just said it's not as entertaining as dry. But I would have liked to drive the course in the dry, but that didn't happen. But yeah, there was a little bit of a mental hurdle to get over. And normally when I'm driving, I don't feel like I'm going to like imminently lose control of the car or whatever. Like I feel like normally I'm pretty methodical with that. I think that one spin I had in your car in the wet where I wasn't like fully familiar with the car, I think that was living somewhere in the back of my head, Tom. That one spin made me slower like 2 years later.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
Anytime I drive a car that kind of translates to me via whatever it's doing, that it's maybe not going to 100% do what I ask for, I think of my crash.
Yeah.
Back in 2020.
Yep. And
that stuff sticks with you.
I think we'd be kind of dumb if it didn't stick with us. Can you imagine if you're just like, oh, big mistake that could have cost a lot of money and maybe impacted me and Tom's friendship. Oh well, and it's out of my head and I never think about it again. That would be dumb.
Right. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I guarantee every time I get in a C8 from now on, I'm going to be paying attention to the edge of the track. Or every time I drive Gingerman, I'm going to be paying attention to the edge of that track.
Yeah, at least in that spot, you might leave a little bit of margin until like you build enough. Like, okay, the car's ending up where I want, where I feel confident there's no mistake, and then maybe you'll be like at the very last inch again. But yep, I think that's just part of it. Sometimes when I co-drive with people, or when I coach them, I can I see PTSD. I'll be like, I know why they have this tendency, and I ask, oh, do you used to spin a lot on corner entry? And they'd be like, oh, how did you know? And I'm like, because you're overcompensating. Like I could see it.
Dang, I can't remember that happening with me and working with anybody before. It's a good thing to look out for, though.
Yeah, you just see it like the way that they come off the brakes and like the way they get into throttle is like ultimate stability. It's like to the point where it's like there's no part, like any part of them driving that car, they can't actually think that's optimal unless that is the way they figured out how to never spin on entry of corners. It mostly happens on racetrack. I've never noticed it in like an autocross because people generally aren't scared if they spin on autocross because
correct,
like whatever, you hit some cones.
Right.
But on racetracks and definitely sim racing, because sim racing's way spinnier than real life. You'll see it. You'll see it for sure.
For sure. I didn't do anything fun motorsports this weekend. I was still dog sitting, and I got home Sunday. Honestly, for Friday through Sunday, I watched a whole bunch of racing again. I had one of those weekends because it was Watkins Glen, IMSA, F1 was in Austria. What else did I watch? Something else. And
anything good?
Just I mean, yeah, some of the racing was good. Oh, Spa. I didn't really watch Spa though. I think that a 24-hour race is really difficult to watch. I would turn it on every once in a while, the Spa 24-hour, and just be like,
where
2 minutes of watching and be like, I have no idea what's happening. I'm not invested. Turn it right back off. But F1 qualifying was pretty entertaining. They wrecked. I mean, DJ, I think they probably genuinely, no exaggeration, wrecked somewhere between $5 and $10 million of race cars at Watkins Glen this weekend.
Oh,
they wrecked so many cars at Watkins Glen.
I thought
it was like I was texting some of the people who work for IMSA operations, like, I hope you go enjoy your night or something. Like, oh my God, that had to be one of the worst weekends for them, from like just watching people crash and crash and crash and crash.
I saw a couple clips of people just like losing it on their own in the bus stop, which in their defense, I've done that in iRacing, especially in the Lambo. Me and the Lambo don't get along with Watkins Glen. I never drive the Lamborghini ever anymore at Watkins Glen because I literally just crash every time in the bus stop without fail. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just going to happen. But I saw a lot of people just like losing it on their own in the bus stop, but not like not on entry, like on exit, which like I found super weird because I know you don't have like all the space on exit in the bus stop, but like you can cut through the grass. Like you don't have to make it, but they would just get in these like long slides, just totally committed to stay on pavement. And then that would literally just send them into the wall.
I think there's a reason why. So during the Pilot Challenge race on Saturday, the curbing, that first curbing that's on your right when you jump into the bus stop, started coming up.
Oh,
so the one panel came up, and it took like 2 people to carry it. So it's obviously like at least probably 100 pounds. I don't know.
So
like 2 guys carrying it to like lift it up into a truck.
Did it start separating from the spikes? Because it has like basically like nails or something that like holds it into the normal pace. Because they can remove it and put it down, right? Like that's okay.
Correct.
So the spikes came up, so it was like actually like floating around and like wiggling and ending up in different spots, or
no? It flew off of where it was supposed to be and was sitting in the middle of the racetrack.
What?
So that happened at like maybe 20 minutes to go. They restarted the race without fixing it, and then the first lap through, somebody hit a different part of the curb that was now exposed and like tore the left front off the car, and they ended up under yellow because the track was damaged, and they ended up having like a 3-hour track repair. So the long term the answer to why this kept happening, I think, is because they ended up just pulling that curb up, and I don't know if they put something shallower down or just didn't put anything down. But if you listened, there were a bunch of drivers talking about how it completely changed the entry. You could carry more speed in
Mm,
because there was no curb to jump. The car would be more stable,
yeah,
but then it would create a problem as soon as they turned back to the left for the second part
because
of the
they had
bus
more
stop.
speed, run out of space.
Uh huh. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So I think that's why that was happening. But I mean, the 6 hour was really fun. I think IMSA is so impressive, especially with, I mean, the GTP drivers are freaking animals. Like they don't even have a sense of self-preservation level of animals. They are real, they're like willing to crash those cars and write them off at any given moment. And
Uh,
they're bumping and rubbing and like jockeying with and then the GTD Pro drivers are the same, like
yeah.
the all pro lineups in those cars. I generally think GT3 racing is pretty lame. But somehow they're all, I don't know if it's that they're good enough or what, they're all even enough. They end up with really good racing in
Yeah.
GTD Pro as well.
Damn.
So I enjoyed watching that.
All right. So maybe I should check out the highlights to the Watkins Glen 6 hour. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe I feel it. Yeah, maybe. It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like when you had nothing to do on Sunday, watching it for, kind of paying attention off and on for
Okay.
6 hours between petting dogs and letting them inside and outside and inside and outside.
As you do
Not
when you
bad.
dog sit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we came home and we ended up commentating a race for the Liberty Bell League that was it was going to be probably like 4 or 5 people. So Amy Houseel agreed to open it up to everybody, and we just put it out in a couple different group chats and discords, and we ended up with like 30 people in the race. And I was itching to like commentate a race after watching all this racing all
Yeah. Yeah.
weekend, and
Yeah.
it ended up being perfect. I had so much fun. I did feel rusty though because I haven't been doing the sim leagues on weeknights anymore.
Okay.
Those wrapped up like 3 weeks ago now, and I definitely felt a little like, especially leading it, I was like, I'm a little slow, I'm a little off, I'm a little behind.
Oh, I
It
didn't
just
even notice. I didn't notice.
it just happens so fast. I want to be ahead of it more. But anyway, it's kind of fun to
Yeah.
think about that anyway.
I didn't notice. So, and I was your co-commentator. So if I didn't notice, then
Cool.
I'm sure it was fine.
And then I had the itch to sim race, and I tried to get to sim racing, and I had a horrible 24 hours of iRacing that made me want to quit motorsports entirely. But then I kind of
What?
pushed through it.
All of
Yeah,
motorsports?
I just get so mad getting crashed out. Like it's just not fun.
The one that you got crashed out in the WDCR league, I don't know if you heard, but Colin apologized to you because that one was just dumb. Did you even watch the replay? He literally just,
No, I was
dude, he
I was so
literally,
fed up with getting crashed into that I don't even care how it happened. I didn't care who did it. I don't It's like I literally don't care. I'm so sick of this stupid game. But then I slept on it. I tried it again the next day and I was feeling much better, and
all right,
I've
well,
had some good driving since then.
I'm going to paint the picture of how you died in the WDCR league. You know how, like, if you have, you didn't, maybe not even overlap, but you're like, I'm going to make a move on this person, or at least I'm going to try to. And you break like a split second later to them to make overlap before you turn in. He did that, but he wasn't next to you. He was just behind you. So he just ran into you.
Right.
Yeah, I was so silly. I was like, I'm not even sure what the plan was. But yep, it just ended up with you on the side of the road, F4, alt F4ing and getting out of the sim like as quick as possible. So,
Yeah.
yep. So sorry, Tom.
Actually, no, I didn't get out of the sim. I went and played with a group of like just buddy league people that wait up for each other and kind of hang out and whatever.
And that was better.
With damage off.
Mm,
It was perfect. It was the exact experience that I want. So I've
okay,
kind of
okay.
determined like that needs to be the core of iRacing for me, is like damage off buddy leagues,
All right.
just and then be willing to quit the other stuff.
The waiting up for each other thing works when it's only like 10 people. If it gets anything more than that, then it just gets a little tedious. It's like, guys, can we just do some freaking laps here? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
So,
totally.
yeah. All right. Well, that sounds fun. I'm glad you're iRacing again. You dusted off the rig after like what, one lap? How long ago was that? That was like, that was May.
I played the week before I went for my brother's house for a week, but then before that it had been April. Yeah, for
Yeah.
right before one lap. What was I going to say about this other part? Oh, I had some funny things happen with, I don't know if it's the hardware or the software or the whatever, but some of the settings had been changed. So I got on to play for the first time and everything just felt really like mushy and muddy and icky. Like I couldn't feel the force feedback well
Oh,
and the
weird.
brakes were really difficult. So I went finally into the settings. I was trying to pay attention and I noticed that my brake pedal would drop from like 25% brake pressure to 0 with like no matter how perfect I tried to release the
So
last bit.
the force factor was all messed up for some reason?
The force factor had defaulted back to just force, what do they call it? Load cell pedal. So the
Oh,
force factor was not a factor at all. It was just defaulted to load cell pedal, which is like a toggle on or off.
yeah.
And
So, wait, do you
as soon
not
as I
use that?
toggled, huh?
Do you not use that? You have a load cell pedal. Do you want to use the force factor with your pedals?
With it toggled on to match my load cell pedal, it
Okay.
would drop the brake pressure at the last second. So it's probably in the drivers of the Logitech software rather than
Oh, yeah,
iRacing.
maybe, yeah.
But I turned the toggle off and then all of a sudden it was fine. And the other thing I
Weird.
noticed is if the computer has been like reset, I have to go to the black box where this is like autocross dorks, but for iRacing.
Yeah.
I have to go
Buckle
to
up,
the
everyone.
F8 black box where you can adjust your force feedback on the fly and just click it like up and down once, and it wakes the force feedback from that muddiness to like right back on, and it's fine.
What?
And it's done that to me twice now after I reset the computer. So now I have to like either make sure that I do that every time, or I don't care to troubleshoot it. It's just stupid software stuff, I think.
Maybe update the drivers on the hardware that you have, because that sounds like a communication issue. Somebody said I had this
Yeah.
happen the same time you did in the M2, and Anthony said I don't have a Logitech wheel. I don't know, maybe it's an iRacing problem. Kevin,
But when I found those, I honestly felt like I was driving I feel like I'm driving really well in the sim, and I've been, fast enough. I won a GT3 fixed race even.
whoa, damn.
Whoa, right?
In the
It
middle of
was
the
10:30.
day?
Yeah, today at like 1 o'clock.
Dang, taking
It was
down
at
the
Bathurst.
Euros. That means that's whatever. Oh, well, I guess you didn't. Wait, 1 p.m. What time is it in Australia? Somebody let me know. 1 p.m.
Not
Eastern
sure.
to Australian time, because that's when you need to drive Bathurst if you want to go against like the actual Bathurst Wizards, because something about Australians and Bathurst, it's the only track they drive. It's like the rest of the world in Nürburgring, but it's just Bathurst.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a Bathurst specialist. That's like one of the tracks I plug into and can run at the front no matter what the crowd is. It just like clicks. You just gotta. I said this once. You gotta fall down the mountain just right.
Yeah. The next Lizard Brains event, are we going to do it on Bathurst? I'm down.
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, but then I gotta drive.
That's
I
fine.
gotta back up my statement that I just made there.
I'll commentate
Watch
it.
me be 7th.
Yeah, I'll commentate it with Christine. You ready, Christine?
Ooh, I'd love that.
I don't think she would.
But the motivation to sim race is because I'm doing that Road America Zenith endurance race,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be in a real car between now and then. So I just want to be having driven a bunch in something.
When is that race again? Remind me. Is it in July?
I thought it was this weekend. It's next weekend.
Oh,
so like
gotcha.
July 10, 11, something like that.
Okay. You want to come to Bristol, Tom?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm driving right by you.
It sounds absolutely miserable to be there. No offense.
I'm driving right by you though. We could split a hotel. It'd be fun. Come on.
Nah,
No.
I'm okay.
Okay. I might sleep in a tent. I don't know. Just do it full on, just freaking grueling crush mode. No, I'm getting a hotel. Let's be honest. I want to shower.
I've heard this thing. Someone said it to me once and it stuck with me, that the older you get, it's not that you get slower in a race car. It's not that you forget how to drive. It's not that your body works less for you. It's that you're less willing to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I feel that a little bit, but it's not the in the car stuff. It's the events that I choose. It's like, if I know it's going to be the surface of the sun at Bristol, I'm okay. I don't need to go. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I might have gone.
Christy calls me out in the chat. You couldn't handle that in a tent, DJ. She's right. I can't sleep. I can't sleep when I'm sweaty. Like I can't. I remember like as a kid before we got air conditioning, like trying to sleep in the middle of the summer with like with just a fan. Yeah, what is this just a me memory? Did I just out myself?
What do you mean before you got air conditioning?
There was a point where we didn't have air conditioning. It was just like
That's crazy.
Dude, I remember when we got air conditioning, like it was a big house upgrade. My mom and my stepdad were real proud. Yeah, so
Sure.
Liam says I'm with you on this one, DJ. I remember when we finally got air conditioning, it was like we had the neighbors over and stuff. It was like, "Ooh, come check it out."
Really?
Yep.
Maybe I have some privilege I didn't realize, but air conditioning was like a basic factor of life since I was a kid, I guess. I don't know.
I think you might be exposing your privilege, Tom.
AC privilege is wild.
Yeah, yeah. Phil. Phil said that in the chat. That's pretty funny.
I don't think that's a thing. Maybe it's a thing.
Well, in the Midwest, I bet it's probably a little bit more common, but like, you know, like in Pacific Northwest and stuff like that, like a lot of those houses still don't have air conditioning because up until recently, they really haven't needed air conditioning.
Sure, I guess I can see that. Well, I mean, most of Europe had no AC when I was over there, but it was a thing when we were shopping for apartments in Chicago when Kyle and I moved there. To find central air was a little difficult.
Yeah. Couldn't you just do a window unit at that point?
Yes.
I remember I'd go play video games at my friend's house because they had an in-window thing, and their house was just so much more comfortable than mine. So like I would literally just like bring my Nintendo 64 over there and we'd play video games. Yeah.
Interesting.
I
learned something new today.
Yep. Christine says, "Oh, Tom has that AC as a kid and going to Europe privilege."
Damn it! Not wrong. I slept on a couch when I was over there, but you're not wrong.
Yep. I'm willing to sleep on the ground at Bristol almost. So, anyways, a rant that I wanted to go on was the difference between needing to, and having to, and I see this a lot with like the very top performers in anything. They have a sense of having to do something, like there is no other option, instead of like, oh, I should do that thing, or I need to like put on the practice, or I need to get I should log on to the sim rig or whatever, or like, oh, that's something I'm needing to do, whatever, instead of like, I have to. Like, there is no choice. It's just something that you are going to do because in your mind, it's not work. It's not there is no choice. It's something that you just have to do. Just like breathing. Like, you don't make a choice to breathe. It's just something you have to do, right? That's basically what I'm saying. So I don't know how to get somebody from needing or wanting to do something to having to do it. And I think if I could figure that out, like really like ignite the fire, I think I'd be a more effective coach. Because I've tried to ignite the fires before, and I get like temporary like boost in like practice and the effort that's being put in. But it's not sustainable. So I wanted to ask you, and I know it's a little different because you got like most of your muscle memory down as like a child, just like playing sim racing games and not understanding like how good you were getting like just from like the playing of it. But did you have the feeling like after school, like, ooh, I have to do the race that's later tonight, or oh, I have to do this or whatever? Are you understanding like the difference of what I'm talking about? Where like it doesn't feel like you can't not do it.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of, I guess. Can you maybe give me the scenario that made you think of this so I can understand where you're like why this came up?
It's just been something I've been thinking about, just like trying to maximize the performance of coaching clients.
Okay.
Because a lot of times like their motivation comes from my motivation, but really like what my end goal is with anybody I'm coaching is I want them to like not need me at some point. Like I don't want to be, I can be, but I don't want to be like the source of motivation forever. I want like that fire to be ignited and then them to just like run with that obsession. But there's some part of me that like understands that we can't pick we can't pick the thing that we're obsessed with. Like we just can't.
Yeah.
Um, and I consider myself very lucky that like racing has grabbed onto me in this manner. Um, and I'm just wondering, how, like, what does that mean for the people that don't have to do the thing? Like right now, you're in that
Y
state. You don't feel the need to have to go drive.
Correct. Yeah, that's hard because I don't have a lot of experience in life. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this without just sounding like an absolute ridiculous person, but I like my motivations have always been what I'm chasing. Like I'm not I was never the type of person I wasn't the type of kid that could like school was relatively easy for me until it started to get difficult more towards like higher grade school and high school. And as soon as it started to push back on me and I didn't see the reason why to do it,
Yeah.
I was not I was out. Like I could have stopped school at like freshman or sophomore year of high school
So
if I had
you need the
if I had the
why.
choice.
You
Huh?
need the why then. Like the why needs to be like that's really important for like your motivation, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Versus like when I would come home from school in the same exact timeline and I would have my sim, I had sim leagues in the European time zones that I would come home from school and I would race those and then we'd have dinner as a family and then I'd have my US time zone leagues and that would be like almost every day and if it wasn't a league it was just friends getting on to play together and that never felt like a thing that I had to do. Maybe I'm stuck on your words a little bit. It was the
Okay.
thing that I wanted to do, so not doing it didn't seem like an option. It was like, that's what I'm gonna do.
It I
And I'm
think
not gonna do my homework because I don't get why does this math or why does this study matter? But
I
I'm gonna go race the sim leagues.
all right, I don't want to lose the audience on like my chosen words for it. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
more
that's
what I'm
fine.
going for is like the feeling of like there was no choice. That was just going to be the thing that you did because like what else would you do? Like you in your mind like you had to do that race. Like if all of a sudden your parents like pulled the cord or whatever, you'd be really upset because you're like, what the heck? Like I I have a league race. Like I have to do that race, right? That's
Correct.
that's
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm like sitting from. Instead of like there was no point where you're like, well, I really should log on tonight because there's a race tonight and you know the season this and the points and the whatever and the blah blah. No, you were just like I'm gonna be there because like that there's literally no other option.
Right. Yeah, and I didn't even think about it in all those words. It was just what I did.
Yep.
Uh I just thought of something. I lost it. So something about that timeline. Parents pulling the plug. Oh, that I watched my peers around me. I felt a little bit like I was on an island a lot of the time when I was a kid because I did feel this way. Like that was the mentality that I had. And I would watch, especially into high school and especially college once we were like adults. So many of my peers were able to either buckle down and do things that they didn't want to do, or they were able to like know that the goal they wanted was important enough to get through the stuff they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So let's say I had friends that wanted to become like doctors or whatever. It's like the amount of schooling you're signing up for to do that, and the amount of stuff you don't want to do. And they would talk about their homework they don't want to do and all this. I'm like, well, why are you doing it? I just like
Yeah,
I can't really relate to that
but they had
mentality,
the
but I
thing.
respect it
Yeah.
so much, and I think some people are capable of that. Um, and I'm so impressed by people like that. I do think that there are people who I'm trying to think of it through the lens of coaching when you're trying to instill that. I don't know how to create it because I've never been able to create it for myself.
I think I have some ideas about like setting
Okay.
a goal where you have to do this thing in order to attain this goal, right?
Okay.
So if you have the lofty like expectation or whatever that exists, then maybe the feeling of having to do it, like there is no other option because you've fallen in love with this goal that exists that you have set your mind on that you are going to do no matter what. So you have to do this because that helps you attain whatever the goal is, right?
I didn't really follow that. Say it again.
Okay, I gotcha. So I'm thinking maybe as like the coach, if I can have conversations with my clients that helps them figure out a goal that like really motivates them, that's attainable. And it has to be attainable so they feel like they have within their own power to go after it. That helps create the motivation and the drive to go after that feeling that I'm trying to instill in my clients, where it's they don't it, they aren't having to drag themselves to get on the sim rig or go to the weekend autocross or like go to the event when it's wet or whatever, because in order to achieve
Hot.
their goal, yeah, or if it's hot, ugh. So because in order to achieve their goal, they have to do those things. If they don't do those things, then that goal that they've fallen in love with, they can't do.
Yeah. The hard part about it is
It's getting them to fall in love with the goal.
no, the hard part is there's no guarantee that you're gonna reach your goal by doing those things. Right?
But what
Is
if
that
you
unfair to say? I guess it's
it's
not fair to say that because eventually you will.
eventually you will, yeah. I think maybe something that, and this might just be like a me thing, but I feel like I'm like really good at convincing myself that if I do these things, I get closer to this, right?
Yeah.
So by doing those things, it definitely doesn't move me in the wrong direction of whatever that goal is. It's
Right.
just another step to get to that, right?
Yeah. So what you're saying that when you're coaching somebody to create that motivation, you are what? You're telling them the things that they have to do it? I guess I'm still kinda lost.
It's more like, so here's an example. So Taylor puts in the chat, but will the sim be the reason I get a jacket? Okay. So what if you convinced yourself that if you got to a certain level in sim racing, that it would help you get the jacket? Like you have convinced yourself fully of that, of like that. I get to whatever 1,000 I rating, and that should be a proficiency enough of of like having like that goal will force me to get on the rig, build in the fundamentals, build in the muscle memory, build in all these skills and iron them out. So when it comes time for solo nationals, I have a better shot of achieving that goal, right? But you have to convince
Yeah.
yourself that it actually pertains. If you have the question, like Taylor does, but will this actually be the reason I get the jacket? It's not enough. You have to convince yourself that it's necessary. That if you do not do the thing, then what you're going after will not happen.
Right. So to boil it back down to what you started with, you're saying that you're trying to figure out the tricks to someone comes home from work and it's not even a thought of whether they should or not practice. It's that
Exactly.
they come home, it's the routine. It's like but how do you instill the want to do that?
I don't know.
That's the hard part for
Yeah,
me.
that is the hard part. Like I remember,
I think some people struggle to admit that they don't really want it that much,
yeah,
which that one's hard.
I think
And
you're
I don't
right.
know, there are people who I don't know if it's helpful to like say that to them. I've never said that to anybody. I've never been like, I just don't think you're really that motivated. But I think give it longer, like give it a couple of months or years or whatever. Then people come to those conclusions on their own. I think maybe it's not fair to even think
I've
of that as your role.
I've had that conversation with friends. Like I'm not the one that told them, but they've realized it all on their own. They just go, "Well, I'm just not willing to put in the level of effort uh, that is necessary to achieve the thing I want to achieve." Like they
Yeah.
can't find happiness in the level of effort that's required to achieve the thing. Do they still want to achieve the thing? Yeah, but like if it's a detriment to their own happiness in a way that is like not uh, sustainable for them, then I think that's a healthy thing to recognize. You don't want to drive yourself in the ground. That's how you burn out, and then you just like move away from motorsports forever. But is there a way like that scenario? Is there a way that I can help somebody go further than they would like all on their own. Like to want to put in extra effort than they would all on their own if they were just by themselves. Because I feel like that would be like the sign of an effective coach, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you think it's better to want it or to need it to do the activity that, the practice, the event, the whatever?
I think if we're looking at just pure results, needing it.
I would argue the opposite. I would say it's better to want to do it because if you need to do it, it's a task, and I don't think people are always task driven.
Okay,
At least
I
people
think
like
we're
me
getting
are
caught
not.
up on words again. Like,
Well, that's why I'm wondering, okay,
yeah,
so the
yeah.
root of where I'm going is, do you think maybe that shifting the verbiage almost can, like, manifest the mentality? So, like, I
Hmm.
want to get on the sim rig and practice, or, like, I want to get on the sim rig and drive for an hour. There have been times where maybe, like, self-talk is where my mind's at, and, there was a period where I noticed I would say to myself, like, "Oh, I'm stupid," or "I was stupid." I forget what I was saying, but I remember noticing it, observing it in my brain, saying something negative in self-talk,
Yeah.
and shifting it to being like, I am not stupid, that was stupid," or whatever, right? So
Or like
I'm extrapolating that out to, like, I
I
if
can
you
do
think
better
of
than that.
right, or you think of the
Yeah.
assignment and like, if you've assigned this person 10 hours of practice a week, um, they have to want to, if they think of, like, I need to get on the sim rig, and then they don't like.
Yeah, I think in that context, yeah, it would be want. But
I don't know, I'm spitballing here, but
it's kind of
I'm on the same
like,
page as you.
look, like Tom, I want you to imagine the time where you were just going to the gym like every single day. It At some point it just felt like you didn't have an option to not go. It was just something that you're going to do.
Kind of, but the reality is I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Like, there were
Okay.
times I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching IMSA. I was like, "Man, I can't believe I used to do this," you know? And that took me on this little, like, journey of memories and whatever. And I remember racing IMSA weekends, and, like, we would finish the day, and I would leave the track and go to the gym. I'm like, "That's crazy behavior. Why was I doing that?" But at the time, like, that I knew that I wanted to do that. That was the way that I
And
regulated
why
some
did
things.
why did you want?
I
Like
don't
where
know.
did that come from? Where did it come from? That's like what I'm trying to figure out. Cuz like when I first started iRacing, I think in my first year I did like 190 some officials, and then the next year I did like over 300, and the next year after that I did over 300, and it was just and all the league races, and it was just like I I would be figuring out what race I'm going to do when I was driving home from work. So when I jumped on the sim rig, like there was no like perusing through the menus and like, what am I going to drive? It was just like I would almost be like, oh crap, okay, if I stop for food, I won't have enough time for the race. I guess I'll just eat after the race, right? Like I it felt like I needed to get home to do the thing, and I didn't want to wait. Like I wanted to do the thing so terribly badly that it didn't feel like work. It was work, like in hindsight, but it didn't feel like it because I wanted to do it so badly. And it didn't feel like I
Sure.
had an option to not do it.
Yeah.
So
Man, instilling that in somebody else is so hard, though.
like with you in the gym when you were in IMSA, you wanted to do it, but it also probably felt like you didn't have the option to not do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess those are the same thing. Um, hmm.
If anybody has any ideas or thoughts on basically this entire discussion, like please chime in because I'm like really curious how the human mind, because I think there's just such a large spectrum on how different people approach this. And I think the more perspectives I can have on how people approach motivation, grinding through something, getting better at something, what's worked for you, what's like a turn off, what's right, like all these things where it's like, oh, I was really motivated until this, right? Like
Yeah.
I want to hear it. I'm really curious about this aspect of the human experience, because I only experience my experience, and Tom, you only experience your experience. I I'm curious what other people's experiences are.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I like if you could figure out as a coach how to make somebody like me tick, then sorry, if you could figure out a way to make somebody like me tick or, find that motivation without that's so difficult. I don't really know. But yeah, I agree. Raul said if it starts to feel like a job and it's not just a habit, it's going to go downhill. I agree. Christian said when you're good at something and getting a lot of dopamine return, it's easier to keep wanting to do it. I agree.
I actually think that's probably the most concise way to sum that up. I think the dopamine's important. Yeah, that's like the brain's natural reward system. So if you're getting dopamine hits on the thing that's making you better and more likely to achieve whatever the goal is, then you're almost tricked into wanting to do it.
Yeah. How much do you know about like dopamine burnout? You ever read anything about this or do you know what I'm talking about with this?
No, I mean I definitely know that's a thing, but yeah, maybe that's where I want to narrow my focus on trying to like get deeper into this like aspect of like human nature.
Yeah. I'm going way into speculation territory. I don't know much about it, but I know that there's science behind, a dopamine overload. For example, scrolling on your phone
Mhm.
can be a thing that really like you're just drained all the time because you're getting dopamine all the time by doing what you want in a way. So I kind of wonder if there's a way to pay attention to external factors if someone's focused on motorsports but they're struggling for the motivation to like really put in the effort that you're talking about.
If they're like a
Like
habitual scroller, then maybe it's hard to find that motivation because the dopamine is depleted and they don't feel like they're like,
yeah, some
I'm not craving dopamine at this point. I've dopamine all day.
correct. And it could
Yeah.
be from work, it could be from like we always talk about external factors can influence
Yep.
your performance as a driver. I wonder if there's something to that you could sort of maybe ask some questions up that alley.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. There's so
Well,
many different things you could have to pay
I
attention to, I
remember
guess.
some podcast questions that we've gotten to in the past, and they've talked about how they've plateaued and this and that, and then we predict that it sounds like there's probably a lot of chaos going on in the background of their life, and then they write back in and they're like, "Yeah, actually, it has been freaking hectic and crazy," and I think like a lot of life chaos detracts from the ability to learn at the side project, which would be racing. If your life is chaos.
Right. I'm trying to read this comment that is very long.
What, Lou Gods?
Yeah.
We can just read it, and then if it's a
Yeah,
miss, then we can say it's a miss.
Spent separate times of my driving career improving areas that I know that had issues just reviewing areas that I knew had issues just reviewing video. I used to shuffle steer. I spent about a year obsessing over it to get rid of it. I used to double input. I spent a time getting rid of that. I've used multiple throttle applications. Obsessed over it to get rid of it, to commit to one throttle tip in. Over time, the overall driving improves, but spent time to correct the small things.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that approach when it comes to improving. You just recognize the low hanging fruit and you troubleshoot a way to get rid of it. Noticing it is
Yeah.
95% of the battle.
Maybe that's another way to contextualize it for someone who's struggling with the motivation or the need or the want. Who cares what word? Is maybe the bites are too big. Like for
Could be.
example, I don't feel compelled to get as good as you are at iRacing specifically. And I don't think that holds me back in real life. Like I don't think I'm at a disadvantage because of it. And I've like gone through all the little coping mechanisms to like I'm not interested in doing that. But because it does feel like a giant bite. It feels like a massive crazy bite because I know how much time it takes, I know how much effort it takes, and I don't see why I want that for myself in my life. Whereas you do, absolutely. And you like your perspective of it is different.
Mm-hmm.
But it all does boil down to like I just know the bite is way too big.
Yeah. Yeah. Small bites. I like that. I like that a lot. Because maybe and maybe that will help with the motivation thing too. Where if the bites, first of all, if the bites have almost like a path, like the path of the small bites, then
Yeah.
you're way more likely to like, okay, I'm gonna bite this, and I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna bite that, and but if it's like, keeping with the metaphor, the bite's larger than your mouth, then you're like, well, why am I even gonna try?
Yeah.
And then that kills motivation, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's a thing that's popped up in the last what's today, Wednesday? So
Yeah.
4 days of iRacing, the last 3 or 4 days, you know how they added the little throttle and brake trace tracker? It shows like the last 5
In
seconds
iRacing?
of your pedal inputs.
Yep.
So paying attention to the brake pedal to notice to go back to my settings and to like fix that problem, noticing that I literally couldn't brake somewhere from 0 to 20%. As soon as I fixed that, I was paying attention to that little histogram of your pedal trace.
Yep.
And every time I would see the little like 20 to 0% trail being what it was supposed to be, it was
Dopamine.
like I knew it felt good. Exactly.
Yep.
It's dopamine.
Yep.
And that
you explained it and I got a dopamine hit. I saw it in my head and was like, yes.
Yeah, right. And then so now I'm a little like I'm definitely obsessing over that little thing. I like look down on my bottom left of my screen,
same.
like basically every corner.
Did you know you can make it a little bit longer? It doesn't have to be 5 seconds. You can make it up to like 15.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
Sometimes you come out of a corner and you look down and you're like, shit, I didn't look quick enough. Yeah, you can make it a little bit longer so you can always see it.
But there have been times where I maybe looked too late, but I know it was good anyway, and I just wanted to see how good it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
You're like,
about.
I want to see how even that little brake release was.
Damn.
To me, that's a tinier bite than you know, putting in an hour.
Okay, so then bringing this back to me coaching, maybe the way I can help them is to identify the tiny bites. And then just give them that thing to chew on, like the tiniest, like if whatever bites I'm giving them, because I do try to give them bites. It's not like I'm like, look at all these things you're messing up. I try to give them like a tiny bite. But if it looks like maybe they need smaller bites than what I've been giving them, maybe that's the feedback, like from this conversation, is I need to cut the food up even more.
Right.
Like I need to go like more granular on like the singular thing they can change about this thing that maybe to me wasn't too big of a bite, but it's not up to whatever it is for me. It's what it is for them. So maybe I figure out how to chop that thing into a smaller bite.
I think that's a great analogy. And I also think I liked, especially when I was coaching a lot, I liked to verbalize the trick I was using. I was trying to say, I liked to give them the context. I guess context is what I'm talking about. I liked to say, like, this is not going to be a one day work job. This isn't going to be, this isn't going to be one bite. We need to chop the bites up into smaller pieces. And here's the, whatever analogy you're going to use. I like to verbalize that for them so that they don't have expectations of it that aren't true, that aren't real.
Right. I try to set the expectations when I first start working with somebody. It's like, look, you're going to go slower. Like, there's no, like very, very rarely, like we just like work together and I like, and I'm just like, look, all these things you're doing, like try this instead. And then you're like, wow, I'm wildly faster. It's like, that's not how it works. Like most of the time, sometimes somebody just puts it together and you're like, am I getting punked? Like, like, is this person actually way better than they let on? Is this like, is this just somebody else on their account just freaking doing like, just like, oh, so you're just telling me I need to roll the weight around the outside and then freaking like beat me by like a second a lap. And I'm like, I'm obviously playing it up like I'm getting punked, but that just doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. A lot of times you're like changing your golf swing and you're going to miss the ball a couple times because it's not what you're used to.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on, I'm thinking about like the way to feel the progress then, if you're cutting the bites up so small.
I think,
the brake pedal thing I just described with the sim is like a perfect visual that translates to a sensation that translates to a result. Like there's a full on step, but I'm thinking about now, since I told the story, the gym analogy. You didn't see progress every day, but I still wanted to do it. I still felt good about it every day when I would work out or whatever.
Yeah, but
then all of a sudden over time, I was in the best shape of my life and I was really proud of how I looked and everything. And that's part of what kept me going, but it wasn't like a quick, like that felt better. It wasn't the same like staged process, I guess.
There is like a dopamine hit after a workout though. Like the immediate feeling after. Like
correct, but what I'm saying is there's no step-by-step like progress or correlation between that, visualization, which I think is what people struggle with
The
because
yeah,
there's not like a,
the
yeah, I
immediate
did that right,
feedback.
which means this went right, which
Yeah,
means this went right. It's
yeah,
like, how do you, it's harder to work on that kind of stuff when there's not a real time feedback.
yeah,
I guess what the analogy I used with the sim is probably like the easy mode analogy
yeah,
because
it
there's
is.
literally real time feedback in multiple ways. You can see the brake trace, you can see the predictive timer, and you can feel what the car did.
Yep. And yeah, and like then you set a faster lap, and you're like, ooh, yeah, all the dopamine is just firing everywhere.
Correct. And
Yeah,
maybe like I said, maybe that's like the easiest version of this problem ever. Or maybe it's because I'm experienced enough that I can kind of like pull from all those different reference points and it all makes sense. Whereas a newer person or me 15 years ago wouldn't have been able to do that.
yeah. And
I
then
don't
so
know.
you,
This shit's hard.
yeah, it is, it is. Then you'd have to make it more bite sized, because really, like somebody could make, I could make the brake trace that looks like it is in data, and still go slower. Like, because
Right.
there's so many other things going on than just literally just the brake release. It's like how the car is balanced and how that brake release is affecting it, and like the shape of the corner that you created by like manipulating the weight with the brake release. Like you can know what the proper shape of it looks like, but just aiming for just the shape, that's not really going to get you anywhere. The shape is like a product of all these other things going well, and there's all
Right.
these like layering variables. So yeah, it is pretty tough to actually nail down.
Yep. But it's about finding those wins. The point of all that was to say the finding those wins for people when you're working with them so that they realize that they're like doing the right
Yes.
little bites. The
Yeah.
the little bites are there.
Or that they're improving, right? So I think Raul said, yeah, good, it's still here. Raul said seeing progress has to rank high. So if maybe the client isn't noticing the progress, but I am, and I in those instances, I try to do my best to be like the cheerleader for that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like, a month ago, like this is what was happening, but like look what's happening now. Like look at the progress, right?
Yep.
So, you want to do some questions, Tom?
Sure. That was a good little impromptu topic. We're not experts on some of the stuff we just talked about, but if it helped you think about it,
This is
like I
yeah, this is like this is like the autocross announce vehicle. Everything we say is not official.
right, we don't know anything about brain chemistry. We're not experts or scientists, but we have gotten pretty good at driving.
Yep, yep. Okay. I'm going to play the jingle. Emails. All right. We got some podcast questions.
I really like this one. This is super cerebral. This is from Derp Bucket, one of our favorite listeners. Just
Okay.
screen name. How much helpful information is now bear with this question because it goes on a bit of a journey. How much helpful information is there to get on track via the sense of smell? I have a really sensitive sniffer and pay close attention if I can smell my brakes. Beyond being a signal that your brakes are hot, could your nose help you perform better? Could you potentially determine the competitor in front of you is cooking their brakes and adjust your approach to overtake them as a result? Are there scents in the paddock other than warm brakes that might tell you something about your car or other people's cars? Should I be wandering around the paddock sniffing things? That's the question.
I I'm a little mad that I'm like thinking about this one this much, because it's obviously like a joke. But like I'm over here thinking, has my nose ever alerted me to like has my nose ever been an advantage on the racetrack or at an autocross, or definitely not in sim racing. It's always just a disadvantage in sim racing. Like
Is it like, oh, I smell kind of bad. I need to get out of the sim rig and go shower.
sometimes it's that. Sometimes that will take pace away. But most the one that I could think of the most is if Christine's cooking something that smells delicious and I'm hungry, instantly I lost like a tenth at least.
You don't drive faster so you can go eat sooner?
It's a timed race. Me going faster is not going to change anything. It's
Yeah,
just
I gotcha. I
distracting.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I
Oh,
can't tell if this is a silly question or not, but I definitely think that there's, you know, I don't think ignoring smells at the racetrack is a good idea.
No.
So being able, so I'm in the car and I can smell something that's not been there before. I'm immediately like shuffling through my Rolodex of like, what is that smell? What could it be? Is it
Yeah.
me? Is it somebody else? I don't think I've ever gotten a competitive disadvantage because I've noticed a smell.
Well,
Maybe I've saved some self-preservation because of smells. Like if you
yeah.
smell oil and you're following this car and then I'll, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that where you're like, "Uh-oh, they must be leaking oil all of a sudden because I smell it." But normally you see it too, like you would see smoke or whatever. I think the smoke would be the first thing that I noticed, and then I'd be like, "Oh, yep, that's definitely oil because now I smelt it." Right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm like maybe to save the car, like you could smell like is that an electrical like burning smell that I smell? Like maybe stuff like that. Like I could see that coming into play.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as brakes. I don't know. You always just kind of smell brakes. Like I don't know if it's like, oh, those brakes smell like they're extra crispy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't smell brakes like being burnt like you would like, oh crap, I forgot to take the pizza out of the oven. Like it's not like you smell a certain smell and you're like, their brakes are fading. Now is my time to make a move. Like
Yeah. That would be such a racing movie
oh
thing
my
to do
god,
though.
it would be. I'm surprised that wasn't in Ford versus Ferrari, let's be honest.
Yeah. And then
Like,
they have a slow motion shot of him passing and
no, the first slow motion shot would be like the nose flare, just like barely like a
yeah,
yep. Yeah,
you do it.
exactly. Yeah, and it'd be like super close up, maybe even like a one nose hair hanging out. Yep. And then Lou God said,
Just
"Yep, of course, shifting 12 times." Yep.
this has to be a scene in Initial D or something.
It has to be. You like you smell the morning dew and you're like, there's less grip on the hairpin.
The other one I think about it that maybe you're taking this too seriously. Tire smell, like tire rubbing. I remember basically every time at AMP in turn 10, which is the big compression where you're like 30 degrees downhill through a compression and then 30 degrees uphill, you get a little like whiff of tire every once in a while. I could see, yeah, stuff like that. You have to learn what they are and then be able to like rule them out or pay attention to them as your sense of self-preservation.
Yeah.
But also, if I smell the tire every time I go through a compression, I also adjust how am I making sure I'm not like just destroying this tire.
Yeah, I guess depending on the veracity of the smell,
Yeah.
that
Lime Rock uphill, especially the S2000, the GLTC car, it would
yeah.
just every time through the compression, I would just get this big
Okay.
whiff of. So that told me to like go check the sidewall of the tire and the surface of the tire after the
All
session.
right. Damn, I don't know if I've ever look at Tom over here just being like a freaking what are the dogs called that like find people in avalanches?
I
Uh,
am not a basset hound. Oh, an
yeah,
avalanche. I
a
could be
basset hound is what I was going for. Yeah, that's what I was going
a,
for.
a Bernese mountain dog.
Tom the mountain dog racer. That's what they're
Yeah.
gonna call it. When you get the NASCAR, you're the mountain dog racer. That's what we're calling it. Hey, whatever happened with the Lime Rock truck thing? Did they just never reach out to you?
No, never heard.
Dang it, guys! We didn't explode that Facebook page enough. Apparently, when we were 75% of the comments, that wasn't enough.
Nope.
Nope.
Because those are worth zero money.
Yep, true.
But also, I did have Lime Rock's social media person message me about it.
Okay.
Because it's a person I've worked with in the past. They're like,
yeah.
what did you do to get all these comments? I'm like, literally nothing. That's all my friends just running with this.
That was great.
I did feel special. Okay, so there you go. A productive answer from a silly question.
There you
Learn
go.
the smells and use them as a sense of self-preservation.
And then
pick one?
Billy D had a follow up to that question. He said, "Why limit it to smell? Should I be licking my competitors to see if I can taste fear?"
You smell a little clammy. You nervous?
That smells like stress. I know I got you into turn one. All right, we'll just keep going down the list. Devin writes in, most people have a last meal. What would your last drive be?
Oh,
I like this one.
last drive. I like this one too.
You're terminally ill, Tom, and it will be your last time ever driving anything. What track, or is it autocross, and what car?
Damn, that's hard.
I know
I've
that is
always
hard.
said if you knew you had 24 hours to live, what would you do? I think I would do like real life Grand Theft Auto, but I would steal the most fun car I could get my hands on, and then just like
See how long you can run from the cops.
kinda, but not like I'm trying to run from the cops. I just get to like I would go somewhere with fun roads. I would drive how I want,
Mm.
you know.
I
Um,
I would be down for that, but then I can't imagine how ridiculously stressful my last 24 hours would get if I like ran
you're
into
breaking the
somebody in a
law.
bike or no, like screw breaking the law, whatever. I don't care about that. But like if I like ran off the side of the road and like ran over a child or something, and then it's like, oh crap, I only got 24 hours to live and I took this kid with me. Oh, that is not ideal. You know what I mean? Like that that would be like what a terrible way to spend your last 24 hours turning into a
Yeah.
murderer. I'd rather like lay
Okay,
around in my pajamas for my last 24 hours, obviously.
right. I'm thinking the most fun cars I've driven is what I'm thinking of. Honestly, the first one that came to mind was an SEC an autocross BSP S2000,
Oh, for
which
real?
is like
The silver one?
yeah, like probably one of the best. Well, I've driven 3 now and they were all incredible.
Okay.
So it's like an S2000 on really good suspension, very tiny little bits of like aero, but lighter weight with like 11-inch wide wheels and like 315 Hoosiers. Maybe probably the best car I've ever autocrossed. What else has been so fun that I would want to make it my last car? Weirdly, I'm not compelled to say any of the pro cars I've driven, except no, not really. What about you? I've been rambling.
I think I'd wanna do something new.
Something new. Okay.
Yeah. I think I would wanna do something that, like, I always wanted to do, right? So,
Okay.
G I GT3 or, like, a Porsche Cup around Bathurst. Like, that is, like that's, like, to me, like, the ultimate, like, "Man, I don't know how this would ever happen, but, like, if I got the chance to, like, I would literally do anything to make that happen," kinda thing, right?
Sure.
Like, even more than Nürburgring. Like, I just because you could just
What
go
if it was a letdown though?
whatever. Then I knew.
I'm
Then I knew.
I
I'm
don't know.
like, okay. I'm glad sitting on my deathbed now that like I know that Bathurst is kind of like it's a little overblown. Everyone, it's not as cool as I thought it was.
Sure. The TCR car at Mosport is the other one that I just thought of.
Yeah.
That was absolutely incredible. I don't know if I would pick something. I mean, if I could pick something new, of course, yeah, it'd be fun to go to Bathurst. I think that's or Macau.
Mm, I think
Because
I'd
then
rather do
also
Bathurst.
the layer of it you didn't think about. I'm surprised you didn't say this that you get to spend your last drive like mastering something new. Is that why you said that?
There's like a special feeling of well that would be nice too, but there's like it's been a while since I've done a ton of laps in in a track on the sim and then I get to it in real life and I'm like, "Oh my god, look. Oh, there's turn 1. Oh, look, there's turn 11 over there." And this and like and you like see it and then you like pull out of the pits and you've seen it a million times in the sim and then like all of a sudden you're there. I'm just imagining
Yeah.
that in like a GT3 Porsche. I've seen the interior like hundreds of hours at this point and I'm going on the track that I've probably done more like thousands and thousands of laps on in the sim. That's always just such a cool feeling. Mix that together with like it's freaking Bathurst and I would be in like a super sick car, like ripping laps on it. I think that'd be pretty I I don't know. I don't know if I could I don't know if I would be able to like beat whatever that peak would be.
Yeah. Let us know yours.
Yeah.
Everybody listening.
They
We
are.
got some
Yeah.
they are, yeah.
Yeah.
So the live ones are.
Yeah.
Um,
GTP car at Spa, Scout Ulrich said. I don't know what Raul, what is that for Raul? McMurdy Spearling upside down?
that's that fan car. The little tiny
Oh.
single cockpit.
Okay, okay, okay. Chris Mayfield says early 2000s F1 car at Spa. And then Diego says Cadillac GTP at Sebring. GTP car would be kind of fun, huh? Now I'd want to do a track that I would have like no chance at driving at some point in real life. Spa like or not Spa. Bathurst is only a racetrack like some of the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a public road.
Yeah. So like you wouldn't just to get to like drive in anger on that track is so rare that like Like that's why it's not Nürburgring, because realistically, if I just spent enough money, I could go drive around Nürburgring. But there's no version of reality where I could spend enough money to go drive around Bathurst.
Yeah, true.
So
Fun exercise. I like that. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it does, I'd be living it up.
let's go. All right. And then the last question from Liam P. You want to read it, Tom?
Oh, are we wrapping up?
Oh, I didn't realize his question was completely Mimi.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, he said, why would it, like, what would your last meal be and why would it be sour cream?
Yeah.
But if you had to do a last meal, Tom, what would it be?
Oh, it would be huge. It'd be all the stuff.
It would be all the things?
Sushi, Mexican restaurant margarita with free chips and salsa on the table.
You've had this thought out. You are doing this so quickly.
What are my other favorite things to eat? Some sort of noodle dish. I'd have like all the genres, all the variables.
All of it? Dang. Damn, you did that too quick.
Yours would be Taco Bell.
I would start off with a Caesar salad. Because I really do like Caesar salads. And then I'm trying to think of like what my favorite thing is at the moment. I think I would just do chicken wings. I think that's literally what I would do. Wow. Okay. Boring.
How long have we been going? Should we do a real final one or no?
Yeah, we can do a real final one if you want.
Okay. This is about rain setup and rain driving, I guess, from Matt. Question about rain setup. DJ, sometime you mentioned reading Think Fast, which has a section on this topic. Traditional wisdom dictates that we disconnect sway bars for wet sessions and races, but I'm realizing I don't actually understand why. I understood this would allow for less weight transfer to the outside tires, keeping more on the inside because there is overall less lateral grip. But wait, wouldn't you want to maximize load transfer to the outside to help clear water from the tread and minimize hydroplaning? My brain is on the struggle bus here. Help.
Okay, one.
I don't think he described sway bars accurately, did he?
I'm moving past that for now. I can analyze that a little bit more. If you're hydroplaning mid corner in any capacity, something's really like.
You shouldn't hit that puddle.
Yeah, don't run over that puddle. Like hydroplaning on the racetrack is not the reason why like you're going slow. It's literally just like the lack of grip.
The tire, yeah.
Yeah. So the whatever springs or whatever setup changes you make is not going to change whether the tire hydroplanes or not. But I know that there is like traditional wisdom of like disconnecting the bars or softening stuff or that or whatever. And all of that is connected to the fact that there is less grip. So you're not loading the car in the same capacity that it has been loaded. So you like by softening the bar or even disconnecting it, you're just like reducing essentially the spring rates. So when the car's loading less, it's like you're not able to load the car with the same amount of force. So the spring, like being stiff doesn't necessarily, it's not having the same effect. So if you just imagine like let's say you just threw like let's say you had really sticky tires in the car will probably handle more spring, right? Now all of a sudden you put like friggin' all seasons or like snow tires on the car. If you really wanted to optimize that tire, I'm willing to bet that the tire would, or like the car would get softened up, right? It's kind of the same thing in the wet. You're just softening up the car so the tire doesn't get overloaded on the surfaces as easily.
Yep. The other funky part about rain or wet driving is tire pressures. I feel like people have such different opinions, but my standard that I've just found from over the years, I'm pretty sure Andy Hollis started with me on this track with maybe this probably came from one lab really, is to just have the tire pressures higher so the tire is stiffer, which is the opposite theory of this, but it does seem to work. And I'm not going to pretend like I understand this well enough to like say that as an authority, but in my experience, it is accurate to say disconnecting bars makes the car faster and having higher tire pressures makes the car faster.
You think that's because there's less like deformation of the tire, so it treads through water? But I mean, now we're back to the hydroplaning thing. I see. I hear conflicting, and I've never tested it in the wet. Like I run low tire pressures and I crank them up, and then I go run high. Like, what's the difference? I've never done like an AB or even an ABA test on this, so I don't know. I honestly don't know. I kind of don't mess with tire pressures at all. I just kind of keep them the same as where I found out the tires were happy in in the dry. Like I don't know if it's that. I think when there's water on the ground, there's so many other factors at play that whatever my tire pressure is, as long as it's not completely out of the window, it's probably fine. Tom, did you happen to see the Tire Rack test on tire pressures? They just
No.
released a video like a week ago. You know
No,
what
what
they
did
found? All the tire pressures are basically the same. It comes down to driver preference. And obviously there's like a low point where it just like completely falls off a cliff. And then there's a high point where it completely falls off the cliff. And then everything in between there, which was like a 10 PSI range, was the same time wise, but the feel of the car was different. So there could be subjective, like what's faster per what the driver wants. They did a skid pad test, where they just like tested the like overall grip of the tire.
On just like a static skid pad. So there's no unloading and loading of the tire. It's just what the grip it can create
It's just
is.
just the grip. So then the way that grip loads in is obviously going to be dictated by the tire pressure, and that could be subjective. Like how you want the tire to like get to that maximum grip.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. If you're removing the factor of the load and unloading of the tire and you're just that at that point you're basically just dealing with compound.
Yeah. Yep. So
Okay.
I'm under the impression
it doesn't
that
feel like a very practical test.
they were a little bit more. They were a little. Go check out the video. Just literally search in like Tire Rack tire pressure, and you'll probably find it. They were a little bit more analytical than my 15-second synopsis of the video, but
Sure.
that was my takeaway: is that the tire pressure literally doesn't matter. So all you freaking nerd ass autocrossers like worrying about like, well, I run 26. Well, I run 25. Well, I run 27. Oh my God, what's the right tire pressure? It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Just run what you run. Like run what like makes sense to you.
I guess I don't like when tests like this that are supposed to be scientific don't agree with my lived experience, and my lived experience
Okay.
is not accurate with this. Like for example, the most recent one I can tell you for sure, a Kumo V730 on a GLTC S2000 on a 18 by 10.5 in a 255 18 fitment. If it's above 30 psi, it feels actively more terrible. It feels actively worse than if it's at 29 psi. It's literally like it's a step. And I got to the point with that car that I could tell you by this lap in practice that the pressures had gone above 30 psi, and I would come in the pit lane and they'd be at 31 or 32. Kirsten would bleed me right back down into 28, and then the car would feel good the rest of the session. But this test doesn't say that. But I'm like, my lived experience is more accurate than some test telling me it's science.
Look, a car on like suspension and stuff is obviously going to be a little bit more sensitive. This was like a stock M2.
That's what I'm saying. Is it just seems like such a small little niche thing. Chris asked, the lap times follow the pressure change. Yes, the car would get pushier and slipperier, and it would be way. Okay, to your point, to the point about this conversation, it would be way more difficult for me to create a lap time when it was above 30 psi.
You might have still been in that subjective range, but like how you wanted to drive the car wasn't going to necessarily get along with that, whatever that tire pressure was.
Right.
But like the actual maximum capabilities of the tires maybe weren't that different. But to extract that maximum capability, maybe the window was smaller than it necessarily needed to be.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess interesting test. Maybe. I don't know. It just seems really left field.
What an episode. We talked about sim racing. We talked about brains. We talked about tires. Yeah. Oh my God.
The smells. I forget how long ago it was. Diego said, man, this is a hell of a podcast.
Did he say that?
What did he say? This podcast is something else, man.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, everyone.
Hold on. Let's see. Is Diego still in the audience? Oh, dang it. He left. Oh no, he's still here. Never mind. Okay. I was like, oh, we lost him. Like, can you imagine if somebody typed that in and then we just saw their name disappear in the audience?
Yeah,
It'd be
popped
like,
away, yeah.
oh, was it something we said? All right. What are you doing this weekend, Tom?
I don't have a lot of plans other than I think we're doing a family grill out on Sunday, and there's something else I'm forgetting that's not
Going to
important.
Bristol. You're going to Bristol.
No. So that's Saturday, Sunday, right? It's a
Yep.
Thursday through Sunday double? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're driving down Friday after work?
I don't work on Friday, so I'm just leaving like Friday morning.
Oh, right, because that's 4th of July day. Okay.
Yeah. I have Friday off because 4th of July falls on Saturday.
Sure. Yeah, I guess kind of this is one of the few like summer weekends I didn't really plan anything, and I'm completely fine with that based on how hot it is everywhere.
Fine. I'll be at Bristol. I'm gonna be driving with Peter in CST. I think the class was pretty big the last time I looked at it. I forget who's there. I think Luster's gonna be there, so that'll be fun. I get another shot at Luster. He beat me last time I saw him, so hopefully I can take him down. Luster turns out he's pretty good, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Good luck.
So thanks, Tom. To everyone that joined us today, thank you. And Tom, do you want to send us out?
Yeah. So this weekend, no matter where you are in the country, I guess, make sure you hydrate. I love your hair, and I hope you win.